Hey, hello everybody. I hope we got a full house over here. We're starting up our Bad Blood discussion series again. You're going to be watching really just the staff here discussing amongst ourselves our plans for Bad Blood 2024, and you have an opportunity to chime in because we really want to get your feedback on the game, especially if you've been to a number of Bad Bloods. We'd like to get your own angle on things. And if you haven't played Bad Blood and you're interested in it, this is a good opportunity to get your questions answered. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Let me just start with just quick introductions from everybody, and I'm just going to go sort of clockwise from my screen. I'm Moondog. I'm the creator and the game manager for Bad Blood, and I started off in New York along with most of everybody folks here with NYC Airsoft, and we started the game off many years ago in New York, and we've since, as the game has grown, and thanks to the sponsorship of EVIC, the game has grown from 75 players all the way to 1,000 players. So we've moved over to EMR. Over in Pennsylvania, just north of Scranton, because that's the only field that could house all of us, and also provide all the parking and the amenities. And it's a great spot. And I'm actually based out of San Francisco, so a lot of the details are getting handled by everybody you're seeing else on screen in various parts of the East Coast. But every year we get all this, we start planning, and just in it's been like the last 2 years, we've been starting to do this. Thanks to technology, been able to start discussions in live. And now we're sharing these discussions with you, but we try to plan all of the events well ahead of time. So you could find me at on Facebook at look for Moondog at Moondog Industries, or also on YouTube. You can always go to moondogindustries.com and you can contact me there, as well as you'll find contact information on EVIC, where it's the only place you can buy tickets for it. So right next to me we have Syamp. Syamp, you want to give a quick introduction to yourself and how you got involved with Bad Blood and how long you've been playing Airsoft?
I've been playing airsoft since the old days of the Walmart see-through specials, and they were all pump action. And I started Bad Blood. I think it was the second year you actually had it. So I've been around as long as dirt. I was a CO for many years when you had Task Force Congo. I played as EXO, Medic, Embed. I've done it all. Run Chronos. So now I just go and lurk around in the dark shadows.
Well, he's going to be our inspector. For all of you folks out there, you got to make sure you follow all of the requirements for equipment, because Syamp. Right, there we go. Right, Syamp is going to be the guy who's going to be checking out everybody and making sure that you have everything on there. And if you don't have it, you're going to have to buy it from one of the vendors, or drive off to Walmart. But hopefully, you'll be able to see that list and see clearly what you need
As
to
long as
bring.
they got a red rag, eye pro, and something to cover the ears, and their uniforms match, they should be good.
Yeah. Okay.
And no real steel stuff, so
Yeah. Well,
no knives and
not.
things like
Yeah.
that. So
All right, and next to Syamp, we've got Ian, or Sonic.
Yeah, I should probably change that. Yeah. Yeah, I'm Ian. I am the senior producer here at NYC Airsoft, mainly because Moondog's on the other coast. And you're primarily the on-field admin. Last year I had some much needed help. Thank you, everybody. So you're going to see me wandering the field, bothering everybody, making sure rules are being followed, everybody's drinking water, all the good things, breaking up all kinds of nonsense, having a good time. And yeah, and I do the bulk of the planning here with Moondog, and we go through the rule book 600-700 times, couple iterations, versions, before we finally release it to the wild, and then make more changes. And yeah, just make sure that everybody has a good time and they're safe and sane, and you know we're doing it for the right reasons.
Absolutely, and Ian's been doing a stellar
Oh,
job on
right.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I started my first Bad Blood was 2013 as an embed for the Marxists, and I basically very quickly told Moondog I was taking over, Been here ever since.
That's what we, that's how we get all most of our CEOs. It's the guys who do the work, do a good job, and actually ask to be on there. So, and for everybody out there who's interested in joining either as game staff or as a tribal or even as a faction CO, get to know us, talk to one of us, and especially get the recommendation of the current CO, and you can join us. So below me we have Buck. Speaking of COs.
Oh, hello.
That's news.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Speaking of folks who've joined the staff.
Hi, everybody. I'm Buck. I've been in Airsoft back since 2011, 2012-ish. I started here playing with Bad Blood I was there for the very last year we had the last field. Don't even remember how long ago that was. I've embedded for Green's Army 2 years, and I've been with Tribals since then. I do sample guard, all the fun stuff. I'm also an EMT. If you do a stupid, I'm going to come throw bandages at your face and tell you to forcibly hydrate. I really don't want to give you an ice enema, but I will.
And he will enjoy it.
Every second, just for you.
All right, and we have, speaking of COs, I meant to say, we have Doc next to Buck over there. Doc, give us a little background on you.
First name's Kent. Doc's the call sign. Been playing since 2016. First Bad Blood was 2018. Had to look at the wall. Much like I'm the noob of the group, I would assume at this point. Much like everybody else, very similar story. Have played multiple roles, got a recommendation, and here I am. And now I'm the CEO of this team. Have a lot of fun doing this last year. I'm looking forward to this year.
Oh, great. Excellent. Well, thanks for joining us, Doc. You did a great job last year, and I'm glad you're joining us again this year.
Thanks for having me again.
All right, everybody. So we have an agenda. One of the key things that, and I'll take full responsibility from last year. We had a typo on our game FPS limit. So I just wanted to go through those again. For this year, we're revising our FPS or joule limit. So it's 1.55 joules with 32 gram BBs. And for those of you who are used to FPS, that translates to about 365 FPS, give or take, at 25. And that's the calculation I was getting when I was using, if there's various online joule calculators out there. So if you're at 365, you should be just under 1.55 joules with 0.32 gram BBs. And we will be chronoing with our own BBs that are supplied by evic.com. They're going to be supplying us with the chrono BBs, but you can use whatever BBs you want to use when you're on the field. But we just want to make sure that everybody's being chronoed using the same equipment, using the same BBs, just so we have a baseline for everybody. And we're leaving the FPS limits for bolt action, and note that bolt action sniper rifles. So those are the only sniper rifles we're allowing the game. Those are the only rifles that are allowed to go above that, and we go up to 2.8 joules with those bolt action sniper rifles. But again, this is intended to be a discussion platform and not necessarily me doing a monologue here. What do you guys any input you guys have gotten or have yourself about those FPS limits?
It's what I always say since we've come up with the bolt action rule a few years ago. We don't recognize the existence of the DMR. It does not exist in our world. So you can't tell me that, it's a DMR, it's a sniper rifle. No, it's not. If it's not bolt action, no, it's not. And then if you've got the guys who are, really, really into their impressions and they do a Russian or Soviet impression, we do not recognize the SVD as a sniper rifle. That's it. If it's, if it's AEG, gas, whatever. It's not bolt action, single bolt pull, single trigger pull. You are not a sniper rifle. That's just luck.
This should go double for you guys that are running the HPA bolt actions. Please, for the love of God, take it very seriously, guys. I know you guys want to have your 5.0 gram BBs and send your BBs a mile and a half and wanted to splinter and hit 37 people all at once. Just don't be a jerk. That's the main thing. Don't be a jerk.
Absolutely, 100%. And for those of you who are wondering why we have the rule about the only bolt action sniper rifles, and it becomes honestly it's because of too many jerks in the past that we've allowed even like replica AR-10s or SR-25s. There's just too many instances where the guys claim that they were single action semi-auto, but they jiggered their MOSFET or whatever, and they were firing full auto. So, we a few years ago we decided the only way we could at least have some sort of control over this was to limit it to bolt action. So
that's the key right there. Anybody who is trying to go that route, I'm going to be the sweeping generalization. They know how to work a MOSFET, and trigger programmable MOSFETs. We can't stop you once you get on the field. So
especially you guys with the Bluetooth blade triggers and the feather triggers and the binaries.
Yeah, there's too many ways that you can get out of our little modicum of control area, and then just change,
wreak havoc.
Yeah.
The second you turn your backs from us, we are fully aware that you guys have the capability of adjusting and doing certain things that we cannot foresee. Once we give you the tags, it is then on you guys to hold some semblance of honor.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that everyone who gets on the field, they're in it to win it, and I appreciate that. But we're one of the few, if only, organization that is completely charity based. So, yeah, you're in it to win it, and that's great. But remember, this is a game to have fun and benefit other people. Do you really want to be the guy who gets thrown off the field because he's hurting people at a charity event? Do you want to be that
charity
guy?
And not to mention how many new players are coming out for the first
Yes,
time.
that's another good reason.
And then you're unloading unholy hell on somebody who's trying to figure out this game for the first time, and this might be the first big obstacle they try, and now you discourage them.
Yeah, forever.
Very much so.
You all want to play more, so don't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't be that guy.
Mhm.
You got the old guys like the three of us up top here, and then you've also got 13-year-olds with their dad. Like, why? What? Just why? He's there to have fun, just like we're there to have fun. Don't ruin it. That's the spiel. Moondog always puts at the end of the player packet, for those of you who always read it, don't be a douchebag. Just don't. There's no reason.
So are we good with those numbers?
Yeah.
Well, so a bolt action HPA that has the bolt, is that classified as a sniper, or is it still HPA?
It's still classified as a sniper rifle, and they get that leeway. But like Buck was saying,
don't be that guy.
Yeah, just be mindful that you've got a very powerful tool under your arm. Don't abuse it.
I was playing even today. Today was my season opener. Went out with a couple of buddies. There was a guy on the field who had an HPA tapped sniper rifle. He was rocking .48s, and on the field that we normally play at has a rundown RV. He punched a hole through both sides of that RV with a .48. That's not a small feat, guys. This HPA is no semblance of a joke. These are powerful weapons.
That's an air gun territory.
Buck, can you speak to this?
Lever actions. I assume you're in reference to the Western weapons that have been released recently, or the lever action shotguns.
Let's assume.
if that's the case, I would say we're still going to be operating under general principle rules of 1.55. You're not going to be classified under a bolt action. You can rack that way too quick. I'm sorry.
Now,
I'm not familiar with the operation. Like, I've seen them.
are they
It's
I'm
just
familiar with the operation in an actual skirmish environment.
is that
Go ahead, Moondog.
I was gonna say, is that an HPA? Or I haven't seen. I've only seen a couple of guys way back that had the Japanese ones, but they were really low FPS as well. But
The field I play at normally, there's quite a few kids that have, they look like real Winchesters.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they got the lever bowed out like the John Wayne in the movie. And I've seen them with it down at their hip, just yeah. So you can, even though it's loading one round at a time, you can still, it's like people with paintball that can work the triggers and you can make it a semi seem like it's an automatic. They can do the same thing.
You're basically,
especially with the modifications that are rolled out.
firing it, basically.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's a bump fire.
Yeah. So I agree with you there, Buck. I was actually going to interject and say, if you guys, since we're talking a little bit about HPA concerning sniper rifles, do you guys want to chime in, just reiterate the tournament lock? Just to go over, I don't know how many folks out there are going to be running HPA who are watching this or on the live stream or watching this later.
I mean, I haven't been in the chrono line in the last couple of years because, I've been kind of making myself busy with other things. I've kind of left it to the pros. I would say we're probably at a quarter of the participants are HPA, maybe.
No.
I think it went up real big last year. So
2 years ago when I was there, because I wasn't there last year, but 2 years ago when I was there, we had, I would say, well more than a quarter.
Really?
And the problem is you have so many different regulators that not everybody gets the right tournament lock. And then we were sending people to the vendors to get the tournament lock. Oh, it doesn't work on my thing. So then I said, well, you got to go talk to Tim and Tom. And they come back with, Tim and Tom said, yeah, I can put a paper cup over it. And then I'd call Tom on the radio. Yeah, he could do it.
No,
so I'm like,
obviously, Doc, speak to this because you obviously know more, but
yeah.
I can't see a single regulator out today that isn't lockable or has an integrated lock. I can't imagine that, because we're not the only people in the world who are requiring tournament locks. Every recognized national does it. So
every event I've been to, it's always been locked.
What's that?
Every event that I've ever been to, I've always been forced to lock it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of those, like, it's February. You've got time. Figure out what regulator you've got and order it. Amped has them.
I think EVIC does also. So is Airsoft GI in them.
You can't find somebody who can 3D print one for your your special snowflake tournament.
I mean, if you have the category 5s, they have them built in. It's a real easy little adjustment. You pull the thing down and you wrap a freaking zip tie to it. Yeah, and it just closes it off, so no one could adjust it.
Yeah,
and that stupid Titman does have a tournament lock. It's the body pin. Not everybody has bought the body pin.
And will have them
out there in the field recently. They kind of came and went.
They stopped making the HPA Titmans.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, it's February. If you can't figure out what regulator you have come June, then maybe you should reconsider your platform. That's just me.
At me on any of the groups. Let me know. I'll look at it. I'll let you know pretty quickly what you got and how to lock it.
Yeah, and
we'll just use crazy glue.
Yeah,
then you'll never get to it again.
Yeah, no, but we have two very high quality vendors on site day of and the day before. There's a good chance if they don't, contact Amped, contact Jackal Tactical, and see if they can have one for you when you get there. If you can't get one in time, and I mean, they're there to help just like we are. So there's no reason for you to come unprepared. Figure out what you've got now, between now and then, and come prepared.
Absolutely. So
And don't be looking at this as like our way of like shaming you for this and like, oh, you should know. Like, no. Ask for help, guys. If you genuinely do not understand how the tournament lock system works, ask for help. There's no shame. It's weird. Not every system is the same. I bought a tournament lock system for HPH system that I don't fucking have. It happens. I bought the tournament lock for the amp line, and I have the category 5. I had no idea what the fuck I was doing when I got an HPA. It's okay. It's no big deal. But
I've
you'll
done it.
learn. Everyone has. Everybody has bought at least one thing throughout their airsoft career. Like, this doesn't go to what I have.
yeah.
I don't know how this coordinates. Do I need to shim this? Do I need... Where's my Dremel? It's gonna happen. It's okay.
We just want you to figure that out well before you show up on game day.
Yes.
That's all we're asking.
And it's a safety thing. It's a preparedness thing that proves to us that you read the
You
rules.
read the player pack.
Yeah, you read the rules. You understand the rules, and you know what's expected of you as a participant. Because again, you're there to have fun. So do everything in your power to have fun.
All right. And we'll probably answer any of questions. We're going to try to do these live streams regularly, if maybe every other week or once a month, depending on everybody's schedule, to answer these questions. And I'm sure for those of you who might be watching this not live, finding this on YouTube or what have you, if you have your questions, contact any of us here or your faction COs on Facebook and ask your questions, or you could ask on our next live stream about any gear. And one of the things I wanted to circle back on is that this is a Milsim Light event, so we're not going to be as hardcore about a lot of the rules and a lot of the unit dispositions and roles as some of the more heavy Milsim, but we try to at least follow a lot of the national rules and concerning gear, FPS limits, and tournament locks. So in a way, if you can at least match the requirements for Bad Blood, you're in a good place moving forward in your Milsim sort of career to go to a much bigger, more hardcore game.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right.
I'd say this is Milsim Light.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to put it. A very good introduction.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like in the bigger games, I'm not gonna name drop any producers, but like they set up their chains of command because they want that pseudo military aspect, and that's great. It really, if you choose to get into character and get into the story, it's really great to immerse yourself in that.
Oh yeah, it's a whole lot of fun.
We have COs in place because, let's be honest, herding 250 people around a field, just saying, okay, just go ahead and do. No, that's not the point. I mean, further in the live streams, we'll start to talk more about the storyline of the game and what's kind of expected of you as a participant. But like, the idea is you just go where you're pointed. That's the CO's job. He says, go there, shoot those guys. Okay, I'm on it. And have fun, like.
Well, basically, that's what the military is. Go over there and shoot them.
Well, you would know.
Yeah, I spent 35 years in the Army. Yeah, I should know.
You got 1,000 people in the woods with toys. So let's just
expensive
you guys
toys.
Go there. Okay, on it. Like that. That's the crux of the game.
So one of the things for this game, and so our next topic I wanted to get into, because it could this is a big change for those of you who've been playing Bad Blood. We haven't done this in over 10 years, maybe over 15 years, since way back over in when we were playing over in Plattekill. I'm going to be trying out fixed spawn points again, and we're going to be dropping the triage respawn this year. and I've spoken to Tim about this, and we think we can make this work. So this year we're going to be respawning from 6 respawn points, potential respawn points on the field, but each of the factions you're going to be only using one at a time. So you claim one of those places. So basically, I'll coordinate it. Your CO will coordinate it with the embeds who will contact me, and I'll keep track of it at the HQ back over upstairs in Wolf's Lodge or wherever I'm at, and I will keep track of which of the CCP points each of the factions will be using as the respawn point at any given time, and then we'll let you migrate to a different one depending on where you are. It's somewhat akin to when we had fixed spawn points and triages a few years back.
Yeah, but
that was just way too much.
We're going to argue about this. I'm just going to tell you straight up. The idea of fixed respawns for stragglers and then having the triage, that's my personal preference. The idea of having nothing but fixed respawns, because you know what's going to happen. You're going to have a faction who's down in the gully whose fixed respawn is over by the campers for that point in time. I see problem.
Well, why would they be in the gully? If,
who knows? The whole point of the game is to keep moving. You know what I'm saying?
The game is follow the leader. They might just go down there for the sake of going down there.
Right. So what you're saying now is not only are they supposed to be moving the field searching for their samples, they also have to claim respawns. I can
see firefights starting over a respawn. 2 factions show up at the same time.
Well,
to be fair, we have had that issue happen plenty of time with the mobile respawns, because we'll get
word isn't going to get down the line that this respawn has been, ownership has been changed, and you're going to have like Anthony was saying, you're going to have teams fighting for, well, this is our respawn. We were just here. Well, it's ours now. They just said it over the radio. Well, we weren't told. I don't know. I mean, in theory,
it's a little convoluted. I can see Ian's point here.
Well, okay, each of the factions is going to get a specific colored flag, and that just one flag, and that's going to be you're signifying where you're going to plant it at the respawn point. So visually, you'll know who has that respawn point.
Oh, kind of like we used to do at the Plat Kill when the mobile triage had the colored flag and he walked around. You knew that was your respawn, kind of like that.
Yeah. So, and it's not like you have to claim, you have to fight over the CCP to get it. You'll negotiate. You'll contact me. I'm on like air traffic control. I'll say, okay, you want this other respawn point, and I'll see if it's already claimed or it isn't, and I'll let you know. Okay, you can move your respawn. Your new CCP is going to be at this location, and until you tell me you want to move it. So it'll stay where it is until you talk to me and we move it.
All right, we're gonna have to talk behind the scenes. I see what you're trying to do. The only way I see that working is if we get potentially EMR staff to man those points that are in contact with you, and then they can control who owns what at what time.
Either EMR staff or we get people on board to just be staff.
Well, EMR has people there anyway, so they're getting paid to be there anyway. We might as well put them to work. I don't know. I see what you're saying. I do, but I see the logistics of 800 to 1,000 people trying to.
Well, let's bring up the map for a second here.
Sure.
Okay, so these are the spots that have the blue cross. These are going to be the fixed spawn points that are claimable. So,
okay. I immediately see big red flag for me.
Well, how's that?
We talked about this last year, and I have brought it up. I will die on this hill. We cannot go into that ravine. We cannot go into that ravine. We cannot go into that ravine. Please, dear God, we cannot have another leg injury.
Okay.
Please.
I can move. I can take that up.
I can't do it again. I'm not gonna watch someone come out with a freaking open fracture.
From the fixed respawn point, I see the concern I have is from the medical standpoint, not from the broken leg, but from the heat stroke that always seems to happen. They're going to have the issue with communication, letting them know where this respawn is. Like I have to get a blowhorn and tell my team, "Hey, we're now on G5," and half of them are not going to hear me. So I can see it just turning into this mess and then turning into like, "Hey, this is our spawn, and now we're going to fight it out," kind of thing.
Okay, looking at here's what I'm seeing. The idea of 6 respawns for 4 teams, I get it. I disagree. I say we go with 4, and here's why. I say we get rid of the ravine, like Buck said. Let's just completely eliminate that. So what is that? 12D, 12E. That's got to go.
Canyon. Well, yeah, we'll move.
Go.
We need to mark that off in general this year. I died on that hill at the after action last year. The ravine in its entirety needs to be X-nayed.
Yeah.
We cannot afford to have this again.
N8 has to go because one, it's too close to the one in the woods, and that's Timmy's house.
I was actually going to recommend we move that up to the airstrip and move
airstrip would work.
And then move East Forest north.
The only problem I have is if it's going to be hot out there is the J2 one, there's no shade there. So if people are going to stand out in the sun waiting to respawn, there's no shade for them to try to cool off a little bit. The one that's in the woods is nice.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. But since you weren't,
there's no other place to put it.
Last year we actually did put in water stations, and that really helped.
No, but
okay.
We had a lot less heat caches last year than the year before.
I bet we can move that, and or they could put up a pop canopy.
Yeah, people are gonna come through the ravine because that's just natural. I think forcing people to go to the ravine that's going to be dangerous. By having to respawn down there. And like I said, N8, that's Timmy's house. So
that's the only thing about having it a respawn point. You can't fire into it because it's a spawn point. So there's not going to be any firefights there. That's the reason why I was starting it over near Timmy's house. So that
all right, I see what you're saying. So maybe not directly in that grid, but like in that general area. I get that.
Officials should not play.
I like the idea of the tent, the pop up at J2. I think whoever has that is going to get killed, especially if it's later in the day. So, having a spot that even if that team is dying, that 20 guys can just go sit in that tent for a little bit. Can go
or step up. The perk to that one as well is it is right next to the exit of the field, so you can just step off, head back to camp for 5 minutes and cool off.
That's true.
But can we get the map back on there for a second?
Oh, sure.
N8 is an insertion point onto the field. I assume that might be Timmy that is commenting currently.
Oh, sorry. Where's Timmy's comment on that?
I see Facebook user on the right hand side. I could be wrong, but that might be Timmy.
I'm just from my small screen. I know that's roughly where Timmy's house is. I know there's a barn right in that general area with an insertion point.
Yeah. So that's really where I meant to put it. More the barn than his house.
Yeah, you're right. An insertion point somewhere in that general area. You're right.
Why don't we just move it up to over 1?
Yeah.
And then
move it to like L11.
L9, I think Buck is saying.
I was saying L9 or L10.
Yeah, L9 works that way because if we kept the one that's still over in the jungle there, was it 13J, 13L, or K? I can't really see it. Maybe move further down the end of that trail, kind of where I think it was what Black Shirts started last year.
Yeah, it's basically I try to put it where it's easy enough to find if you follow a trail.
Yeah, because
What if we move the East
We're gonna look at
Fortress?
they're going to see, okay, well, you know, say they start at L7, right? Okay, well, they know that another faction is only a good, 300 feet away. Well, they're just going to charge, so you're going to get an immediate, so I don't know. We'll figure it out, but we'll tweak it. But I kind of like
Yeah.
where I like where you're going with it. Still,
What if we moved the East Forest over to I-11 or 12?
Yeah, if it's easy enough to find if you follow a trail, we can move
Okay.
it anywhere along that trail.
Okay.
okay.
And I do think we need to have 5, Ian, because there are 4 factions. So we need one extra spot that somebody can move.
That's it's fine. At least if we just move the one near Timmy's house over a couple squares,
Yeah.
that 5 for 4 works really well.
So basically, the way that would work, guys, is you basically have your starting spawn wherever it is, and then you have the option of moving your spawn point somewhere else if you want to. You'll probably get used to fighting from a certain location, and then once you feel that you've exhausted all the places that you think you could find in that area, you'll want to move anyway, right?
Yeah.
So you can contact me and I'll tell you where is, and well, in the case, which one's open that you can move your spawn point to.
Let me put this thought into your head.
Mm-hmm.
What if we literally just rotated at the top of every hour?
That's another way to do it.
I feel
but
like
you got to
that
make
could
sure
get
everybody's
really
on the radio and
convoluted.
hears that.
Say again?
You got to make sure everybody's on the radio and pays attention to, okay, now you're no longer spawning at I2, you're spawning at B3.
Yeah, no, you're right. But it is also the player packet. A piece of required gear is a watch.
Well, yeah, but you're not going to know which spawn you're going to.
No, I
how
understand.
many people print out the maps? Not everybody does.
That's where a CO, having read the player packet and understanding their role, or the embeds understanding their role, come in play. They say, okay, it's noon. We started our spawn was L12 or L7. We're now at I2. Because we're rotating on the hour. That's the embed and the CO's jobs to know. Okay, at this point in time, we've migrated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but again, like I said, I know from when I went on the field 2 years ago, I was respawning different factions together because nobody could find their respawns, nobody could find their mobiles, and half the guys didn't even have maps or radios. So
we're gonna have that problem. I mean, nothing we do is going to solve somebody.
No, I know.
From not having any way to find.
I think the kind of like capturing each area as you need it is kind of a little bit more progressive in that thought, because then you have options as a team to kind of evaluate instead of being forced. I feel like it gives it a little bit more of a fluid motion as opposed to
if your faction has cleared, say, Tipman Town, and they want to attack the Pines, they're going to want to take I2 as their respawn, right?
Yeah, sure.
Once they feel they've cleared I2 or they've cleared the Pines, they might want to migrate. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
All right. So
and then it could also give
it benefits teams who are on the ball.
Yep.
And it punishes teams who are not, in a way.
It could also create a fun dynamic for teams that are interested to potentially capture those points. We could also throw that in there as an option of you've got a certain line of defense for each point that you're protecting. If I want that point and you're the one on it, what if I want to take it? What if let's just say, for instance, I'm Black Shirts, Ian's green team. Ian's got the Pines, he's got West Forest, and I need to get through there so that I can get a point that's in the back. he's stopping me on all fronts of getting there. Fuck it, I'm taking that point. I'm taking his point and I'm cutting off his legs. So now he has to go move and find something else. Do it like capture the flag.
Yeah,
It adds a more of a Milsim feel because now you have to defend your respawn plus
I like it.
for targets, and it adds more realism to the game. For lack of a better, you'd have to leave 5 or 6 players to defend your respawn in case Ian decides to attack it.
And God forbid.
Oh, you can't attack a respawn.
Well, that's what we're suggesting.
Yeah.
You can attack the people who are guarding it from 50 feet away.
If there are 5 people that are guarding the respawn and those 5 players go down, that respawn is moved. That respawn has to be moved by the CO.
That's selling me. That could work.
I mean, if you see people with red rags on, obviously you're not going to attack. But the guy standing 25 to 40 feet away shooting back at you, yeah, kill them. And then you got the respawn.
They're marked. Maybe they're marked so you know that they're the defenders versus the respawn. Nothing crazy like from, let's say, Deus Ex.
A yellow armband.
A white band or something. All the defenders have a white band. And then that way you know who's going to defend that. I like the idea. I can see it getting bogged down, but I also like the idea. It adds a different element, a different flavor, rather than ramming into one another over and over again.
Especially with how we've had it for the past few years with the mobiles. I especially see that choke point happening the most near Tipman Town.
Yeah.
It happens every year. Every single year we get a choke point there. Every single year we get a fight. Yes, absolutely. Those are the big choke points we see every year.
But you know what else it adds too is it allows, say me and Ian and Tom were actually playing. We're old as dirt. We're not in the greatest health. We can be defenders. We don't have to roam around the field. You know what I mean? For older players that might not be as mobile as a lot of younger kids, they can still get out and play, but don't feel that they're going to end up hurting themselves trying to run across the field.
And don't feel like they're not going to get any action.
Exactly.
I kind of like what you guys are saying because I say this every year. Bad Blood is a game of movement, but we always see guys show up in ghillie suits and sniper rifles. Now it gives them that opportunity to be sneaky peeky. I kind of like that.
And it adds more to it. You could leave booby traps at the perimeter and take them with you.
All right. But
yes,
your defenses are yours to do what you want to do. That's fine. I see what you're going. Yeah, this could work. This could definitely.
I mean, it's going to need a lot of talking to get all the bugs worked out. But
I need to see it on paper and really pick it apart. But yeah, that could.
You know, we could do a test run of this, doing using a tabletop RPG rules.
Sure. Yeah. Or rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, or rock. Yeah, I'll just roll the dice and say, okay, you're starting over at, each of you guys take a start point. So you're starting at West Forest. Which grid coordinate do you want to go to? And then if somebody else wants to claim that or move their units over there, then we could roll dice and see if they get that grid square.
Yeah, this could definitely work. I'm kind of liking the idea.
And I think you'll appreciate this, Ian. And Timmy, I appreciate you chiming in on the Facebook on this. He has colored flags, but I also picked up some national flags from some of the African countries to be the ID flags.
That'd be cool. All right.
Well, unfortunately, you don't have the country anymore that I used to CO for, Congo.
Oh, there's a couple of Congo flags now.
Yeah,
but there's no more Congo team.
Yeah, Task Force Congo.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
but it doesn't mean that you aren't representing.
Yeah, I like it. All right. Yeah, I'm warming up to it.
I think this could work. But I heard a little bit of discussion about fighting to claim one. I mean, is that what I heard from you guys?
So
like to be able to fight for it?
Basically, let's say we can set up for each team, excluding tribals, 5 or 6 players, depending on how many people sign up. opt to stay at spawn points and defend from people trying to invade. If those 5 people get taken out, that spawn point for those teams, the team has to move.
But are you talking about the spawn points that is theirs? The only thing,
Yes.
the only concern I have is the rules that we have against shooting at spawn points. So we'd have to remove those rules.
No. What we're talking about is if the people who are defending it are standing away from the spawn point.
So let's
And
say
they
there's
have colored armbands, so you know they're the defenders. If you
Right
see
on,
people with red rags on their heads, you know you're not going to shoot them. But
What
the
they're saying is-
25 guys
No, what they're
to the
saying is like,
side,
spawn points that are like say not in use. Let's use Marxists for an example. They're down in. Let me bring the map. Hold on.
Well, there's only going to be one extra one at any given time.
Right. No, I understand that. I
Yeah.
understand that. They're down in the ravine area between along the 11 vertical, right? But their spawn point is say B3 or C2, right? Obviously nobody's going to be there because they're all down in the ravine working their way towards another sample. You're going to have 4 or 5 guys, all volunteers. Nobody's going to get voluntold, defending that spawn point. If they get wiped out, that spawn point is now effectively up for grabs. Right? You know
so
what
we're
I'm saying?
not saying that players are going to be firing into the spawn. We're saying players need to take out those 5 defenders before that they can move in and claim that spawn.
Yeah, if the spawn point is actively used and you've got players who are in triage waiting to respawn, obviously it's a no-go. But if the spawn point isn't actively triaging and you've only got defenders, you're not really firing into respawn. You're firing on active participants.
50-foot barrier. Buffer
Right,
zone.
right. 50-foot buffer off of their spawn. They're effectively a rear guard.
Okay.
Right?
So
I
if
think
they're-
Tom needs to see a visual of it.
No,
to
I'm
know
just,
what we're talking about.
I understand. I'm just trying to think of I'm just trying to look through my head. If they do claim that, then somebody's not got to get a hold of me and let me know that they've claimed it as well as they've given up their old one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
well, sure, absolutely. That's
Yeah.
how that's going to happen.
Yeah, you
But
can't
I think the principle of that would
like
be,
a flag.
I think the principle of that would be is if you see players with red on their head, don't shoot. Wait till they leave. Once they leave, have fun.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. So at that, is it worthwhile to have have one of the embeds stay there as a defender at all times?
Or have one of the
Potentially.
defenders have a
Yeah.
radio that's connected directly to command.
Yeah, because that's the only way I could think of for
Yeah.
somebody to be able to get a hold of me that's on my channel so I can.
Right.
Let them have a map with them, whoever the head honcho would be of the defenders, one of the 5. They have white bands to identify them. When they go down and they're dead, they can't respawn. They're dead. So when you run out of your lives, that's the role they play. They have a map, and you immediately tell them, okay, this is the one that's unoccupied. This is your new respawn. You better get over there. And that's how they get back into the fight.
It would have to be an embed though.
Yeah.
Because I don't want some rando calling me on the radio saying, "Hey, we claimed this. We took it over." Like, who are you?
It would
And-
be somebody who only has comms with us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think an embed with the team and an embed with again the rear guard
Defenders.
makes sense. Yeah.
Good.
I mean, I knew this point was going to come up. The idea of having that point and a mobile respawn to kind of keep the game moving. I don't know. I think we need to fight it out a little bit more and talk about it. But I don't know.
No, I think having a mobile spawn / triage point we've been running into way too many headaches with it for the past few years. I think we need to take a year off from it to evaluate its effectiveness and see if this potential strategy is more effective.
Because it does work, even just as a single embed. Because I remember the days of a single embed per team. It works with 100 players per faction, and even then, it's difficult to make sure everyone who's hit, knows to fall back. You got to keep the time on it. With 200, 250, because we're post-COVID and things are relatively normal. People are hopefully going to be itching to get out there and play and really experience this game for what it is. That's a lot of people for one, even two people to manage. And I mean, I can't speak for all the embeds that I've voluntold over the years that this is what you're doing this year, but they do their jobs really well. But it is tough. It is really hard, and in a way, because we have these people who are out there fighting for their factions, but the minute you start taking any kind of team casualties, we've literally just taken the gun out of their hands for the next 10, 15 minutes. This way we get embeds who are there in the as strictly as gamekeepers and as walking rule books, and people who are there to manage for us as opposed to kind of just make sure everybody can get back into the game every 10 minutes. So now you've got these players like Todsky and like when I used to do it and stuff like that. Now they can actually kind of play the game again, because you've got these guys who career embeds again, like like my guy Todd. He's been an embed for Marxist ever since I stopped doing it. So what, six years or so he's been an embed for Marxist. I know guys who don't even bring an AEG with them anymore because they know that there's no point. Their job is to wave the flags, wave the pool noodles, and wrangle the kids, and that's great. They do their job well, and I appreciate them. But why not let them play? They haven't played in years.
Well, what about a dedicated embed just for the mobile triage? I remember the first year I was mobile triage at Sci Sports, my gun broke like an hour into the game. I didn't have my backup. So I was in the staging area, and Tom says, "What's wrong?" I said, "My gun broke." And the kid who was the mobile triage, he got heat stroke or whatever it was. And Tom says, "Well, do you want to do this? You ain't got to shoot nobody. Just walk around with the noodle, and, do this, do this."
Yeah, that happens.
And if you have somebody that's just doing that,
bring stuff with them anymore. They just bring all the water because they know that their job is really just to wrangle the herd. Now they don't necessarily have to,
Let's keep this in mind as well. We've limited ourselves to the idea of only having 2 embeds per team. We can consider adding more. We can consider opening that floor up to have more people.
Yeah, last year we had 3. Well, at least that was the goal, and some of them
we since we couldn't really staff it, that was the goal. But we at least had our 2 per, which was nice.
I would love to have 3 or more, but it's just a matter of finding the guys who are willing to volunteer to do that.
But
and know what they're doing.
Right. Yeah. So it's really a matter of understanding the rules front and back, and be willing to be that referee as well as be that referee as well as a player. So with the idea of these static respawns, it still allows that player referee to kind of really experience the game and do their job when required, as opposed to, my team's taking hits, got to pull out the flag now, because that's what they've been told to do, and that's how they're comfortable running their team. Now that if we can say, okay, bring your AEG and bring all your mags, because you're gonna finally get some. Yeah, I like it.
So I can agree with that, but the problem too is going to be when your respawn is at I2, and your team's on the other side of the fort. Now you got to walk all the way back because there's no more mobile respawn to I2 to respawn. Then and then we have enough trouble even with a mobile respawn, people finding the respawn.
Well, again,
it moves
but that goes to what Buck was saying. It was like, if you know that you're 1,000 feet from your respawn, well, you find a new one. Look for those guards, and try and claim. That's kind of the point. So while the factions are moving, they're now also capturing. They're taking territory now, as opposed to coming through like a bull in a china shop, getting their sample and bugging out, which is still fine. If that's how you want to run it, fine. Just know that your static respawn is going to be under siege all day long.
They're going to have to be bunny hopping it, and it's as Ian said as well. This is a mobile game. People that are going to be mobile, people that read the player packet, people that are listening to the live streams and paying attention to what's actually happening and transpiring are going to excel, and the people that don't are going to find themselves
Sitting in the
asking-
staging area at 10 o'clock in the morning crying.
Or
And-
they'll step up and say, "Hey, we're not following the spirit of the game. Let's get into this and capture ourselves a respawn we can use, and then continue on with the plan." That's where you need a CO who understands what they're doing, and embeds who understand what they're doing. Say, "Hey, look, we've been stuck in this mire for the last 45 minutes. It's not working. You can't just red rag it out anymore. You gotta figure it out. That's where we can reintroduce some milsim to effectively the scavenger hunt.
And it also kind of deters what has happened for the past few years that has been the tried and true tactic of the Marxists and the black shirts of death ball.
Yeah.
A wave of hell. We're trying to emulate some form of a cohesive milsim. Even though we're milsim light, we're trying to emulate some form of progressive, good ideas, good thinking, good movement, good introduction. Most milsims, you're having 10, 12, 14, 15, sometimes plus objectives throughout the day. Your objectives are constantly moving and you're getting radio traffic. Oh, you just went down. You're headed back to respawn, which is your static respawn of, hey, I need you to fuck off with what you were doing and you need to go handle this thing that's on the other side of the map. Okay, Come back. You're going to the center of the map. Die one more time. You're going back to the one you were at 3 hours ago.
Yeah. Now we also need to basically introduce radio etiquette and proper radio usage. You can't be on your staff channel or your team's channel just chatting away. You need to be listening for instruction. You need to be listening for, okay, we lost our respawn. We now need to go capture this and that because this is the area we're in. We're abandoning our respawn because we're going to be taking. You need to be in the know. So, I heard this years ago, and I still use an example. You can't just be squawking away at your friend to find out, okay, well, who's going to go order pizza?
Yeah,
that's not my problem, guy. Your job now is to listen to instruction. You're not being barked at, by your COs or your embeds. They're there to guide you in the game. They're not there to turn you into a mindless machine. You're there to have a fun and do your role as a participant. But you need to be listening on what to do next.
And if you want to not listen to people, come talk to us and find your way over onto the tribal team and create some chaos for the rest of them.
Yeah.
That's our whole job.
Yeah.
I know when I was a CO at Congo, I always designated one person that was with me. He kept on the whole team channel, and I stayed on the staff channel. So anything that Tom would tell me that needed to be relayed to the team,
right.
It was like in the military. You had the radio operator.
Yeah, exactly.
But not everybody does that.
I know the black shirts CO, another buddy of mine. He does that. He designates a radio operator. He's on the staff channel. He's listening to us and communicates with us and his embeds. And then he's got a faction player whose only job is to
relay information.
Is to relay information to the team. That's his job, and that's what he does, and he does it well. That's why Black Shirts is also a very successful team.
Well, they also just bum rush everybody. So
I mean, that's also that's Marxist. You got a guy literally screaming, "Move, move, move!" He's the radio operator with his voice. But the idea of you've got one guy who's just that's where the information is coming from. If you don't hear it from him, it's not valid information. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean that's up to
if
how
more teams did that, it would be probably a better game. But a lot of people don't.
And that's why bad is what it is, because every CO and every team does it their way, and that's their right to do. Doc's going to do it any way he wants to do it. If he wants to designate an RTO, great. If he doesn't, okay, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Just know that you might be having guys who are missing key communications. If you're okay with that, you're okay with that. and that's fine. That's your game. Just know that that information has to get passed somehow. I don't care if you use runners. I don't care if you use carrier pigeons, but
Smoke
somehow
signals.
information needs to get passed. It's their job to figure out how to do that.
All right.
Do you eat fishy? You eat the fishes?
All right. So we're actually we're near the top of the hour, folks. And so, but we got a lot of headway on this, and I thought this was going to take the lion's share of the discussion, and it has. So this is a good start. I don't know. Let's just talk about scheduling for our next meetup. What do you guys feel like? Should we do it every other week, once a month until then?
I was thinking we should probably do a minimum of once a month up until maybe 6 weeks out, and then we go to every week.
Okay.
So
I agree.
we do the next one around around St. Patrick's time, maybe.
The 24th of next month.
That'd be fine too. Yeah.
Is that St. Patrick's?
No, St. Patrick's is the 17th. But
Yeah.
Yeah, we do it.
Yeah,
Again,
20...
what is the last Sunday of every month up until 6 weeks out. Something
okay.
like, you know.
I think that's smart.
What's that?
I think that's a good plan. I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, and that way it gives Ian time to think more about visualizing how he wants with attacking spawns and stuff, so we can explain it to Moondog.
Well, no.
Yep.
What I'd love to do, if you guys are up for it, we could do war game out this with the grid map.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys up for a little tabletop war
I don't care. I haven't played Command and Conquer in a while with the grid game.
Okay.
I think
I'll
it'll work.
I'll work it out. Ian, you're gonna be in charge of the dice.
Sounds good.
Okay, since you haven't, just get a bunch of 6-sided. I know you're not an RPG guy, so you may not have all the tricky dice like I do.
Actually, no, that's not true. I do, because my son uses them for math.
Oh, okay, yeah, perfect.
But CeeLo dice don't count.
Oh, hey.
Oh, okay, maybe Buck is going to be our Buck.
I got you.
All right.
Yeah, no, I like it. So
I
yeah,
knew
like,
there was a reason
I have
like
to admit,
Buck.
I'm a little confused at this board game nonsense. So you got as I go.
yeah, let's definitely reconvene for our next public. Let's yell at each other and come up with crazy ideas for the last day of the next month. If we want to tabletop it, one night, let's figure it out. People can watch and tell us how bad we are at games and have some fun.
All right. I've got a month
good.
to work up some basic rules, and I'll tell you how it'll all work out.
All right, sounds
Sounds
good.
good.
All right.
All right.
Catch you all then.
Thanks everybody for tuning in to our jibber jabber amongst each other. But this is how we actually talk it out and get the games ship shape by June.
I asked if you opened them.
Thank God for technology.
A little bit of behind the scenes for you guys.
Yeah, a little bit, maybe a little too much for some folks, but I appreciate everybody for hanging in there. And we're looking forward to running this game for you and making sure everybody is safe and has fun. All right. Well, thanks everybody for everybody on the panel for joining us. Thank you, Ian, for hosting.
My pleasure.
And if you have any questions, please post them up on the Facebook on Facebook on the Bad Blood series group, and we'll answer those as they come.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Thank you, everybody. And
Thanks, everybody.
See you in a month.